A special report on the victims of the Post Office Horizon scandal who will never see justice. It's thought more than 200 wrongly convicted sub-postmasters died before they had their names cleared. For their surviving relatives, the pain of their loved ones not finding out the truth is only part of their agony. The false accusations tore many families apart. Some wrongly believed their relative had been stealing from them. Others were left shamed and never recovered. Garen Vincent heard from 3 families for whom the truth can only ever repair some of that damage.
The post office scandal had thousands of victims, but they were very often made to feel as though they were the only ones.
Now I'm living my 60s.
So even now, families of sub-postmasters find solace in getting together and sharing their stories of hard-working people who were undone by being wrongly accused.
He was absolutely floored. He didn't know, what he had done wrong, or how could he have done anything wrong, or how could this money be missing. I knew he hadn't taken it.
Anne Quam's husband Bill ran a post office in the Hebrides. 14 years ago, he pleaded guilty to embezzling money.
They told him he would go to jail if he didn't plead guilty. He was a proud man and an honest man. And it was against his principles to plead guilty to something that he hadn't done. But at the same time, he said to me, if I go to jail, I'll never come out, I'll die.
Marion Holmes recognises much of Anne's story. Her husband Peter ran a post office in Newcastle after a career spent in the police force. He too was wrongly accused, and he too felt compelled to admit to crimes he did not commit.
Just as we were going into court, our barrister called us in. He says, "Oh, they've offered you a plea bargain. They'll drop the theft if you'll plead guilty to false accounting." So Pete jumped at it, an ex-policeman, 67, diabetic. There was no way he wanted to be in prison. Like you were saying about your husband, he knew he wouldn't have come out alive. He just wouldn't.
Marion and Anne have something else in common. Their husbands died before their convictions were overturned. And in those last years, the men they loved were broken.
It just destroyed him. Totally destroyed him. Destroyed the whole family.
Just to have everything that he's worked for his entire life taken away from him, and then his last years living in shame. He died of cancer, but I think he would have lasted longer had he not had to go through the trauma that he went through.
For me, the lowest point was after he died, when people were saying, "I'll miss his sense of humour," and I said to my daughter, the sad thing is I'd forgotten he'd got one. He just shut in on himself.
Justice came too late for Sue Beacock as well. She bought her post office in Dorset with her mum, Kathleen, herself an experienced postmistress. After running it for 9 years, Sue was wrongly dismissed for false accounting.
I was sacked in the March. By the August, I had cancer in my tonsils. And I was pleased because I thought that if people thought I was ill, that's why the post office closed, so I'd save Mum some shame.
Sue was eventually exonerated, but not until after her mother had passed away.
She was a very strong woman. She was a very proud woman. She was very old, pillar of the community and everything. And I let her down. And I didn't let her down. It was the system that let her down. But I can never tell her that. She'll never know.
She will.
Thank you.
The post office says it is trying to right the wrongs done to these people, but the damage here is beyond repair.
You can't put a price on somebody's life, And there's been 15 years of a living hell, to be honest.
But what we can do is make sure that everybody gets something to look forward to going forward. And it's time that they did before everybody's died, you know. Yeah. I mean, I'm 82 and Pete's gone and a lot of other people have gone. And that's what makes me cross, and that's what drives me to keep things going.
I've got my compensation. I got just over £100,000, but it's done nothing. I've got no job. I have to live off it. It's crap. Sorry, but it is.
After the isolation, the shame and fear, a drink and a chat is balm for deep wounds. Now, without those most dear to them, these people have to find a way through the ruins of their lives.